Hey everyone, welcome to semifinal action here at the YCC Youth Club Championships, part of the 2019 US Open and USA Ultimate. We've got a pretty good one here. Do not be deceived by those seedings you saw initially. Number 14 seed Maine out of Portland, typically Riptide, coming here against the number 2 seed DC Rogue. However, it is the Riptide that have the better point differential coming into this game. They are undefeated so far, taking out Texas Tango in quarterfinals 13-7, while Rogue here took down Oregon Downpour, the team led by the Linkfields. That was a 14-10 win for them, otherwise untested in pool play. Two powerhouses here, DC Rogue versus Riptide. Aaron, I'm here with Aaron Maraca. You got to call this Rogue game yesterday, today, and I've got some information on Riptide. There they are there, the Riptide girls. Pretty enthused, pretty jazzed up. And I'm just going to say we can expect a good one, but thoughts from you, Aaron, on this matchup?
Well, quick comment, of course, about the seeding. These youth club teams, of course, are age range defined. There's both a U20 division and a U17 division, and in communities that field both of those teams, players age out and are no longer eligible. So seeding is notoriously difficult because you don't know how many of the core members that were on the team last year still remain. So that's my first little thing. Weather today, slightly cooler than yesterday, but still pretty hot. Humidity way higher than yesterday. A little bit steamy in here. The wind that was prevalent in the first round all gone now, so that probably won't be a factor at all. But this DC Rogue team from yesterday really representing the highest level of youth women's action from the region. All of the best players from DC on the women's side are playing for DC Rogue, an effort that started not too long ago, just as a shift in mentality in that metro area to try and field a stronger women's division team. Started with efforts from Jenny Fay, one of the best throwers in the world, certainly, and a very big name. Having her attached as a coach was a really good way to shift that over. Of course, her former Scandal teammate, Kelly Ross, one of the coaching staff here for the DC Rogue as well. We just saw a dominant performance from them yesterday. A lot of good talent. Several of these young women currently playing club already, and you can see that with their poise and skill set.
Olivia Ariano with the pull for Rogue as we start this one off, and Riptide will receive right off the bat, and that is someone we'll talk about pretty well, that's Maribel Collins centering it, as she will center it up now to, she's right in front of us here. And now they're looking on a vertical stack.
That's Raguchi.
Gucci finds her woman, number 44. She launches it deep. That's going to go too far for everyone. The throw there from Emily Posey. Posey we'll talk about a little bit. Her younger sister is also on this team, Annie, at 13, one of the youngest players here in the division. We saw a 12-year-old in our last game, did not play too much. I think Emily will see the field, and she's got a great matchup on the other side with the 14-year-old Margot Neeson. As Olivia Ariano, one of the top players here for Rogue, will pick it up on the turn and look downfield.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of action between Ariano and number 28, Claire Schmidt, one of the captains of this DC Rogue team. So you can get used to their names because you're going to hear them a lot.
A drop there as this forced back into the middle, and Cunningham could not keep up with it. And now Posey will move to the field, but this will be a pick, so this will come back. Already some gamesmanship early. One of the assistant coaches in a way to this team, Chuck Cleary, his wife, of course, one of the co-coaches of this team, told me that they were able to watch the tape of the game that he broadcast yesterday and get some tips on what this team likes to do, that being the DC Rogue. A couple of early game jitters here so far from Riptide as their throws, the wind not too prominent, and they're just putting a little too much adrenaline on these throws, I feel, and they're sailing too long. Once they dial that back a little bit, expect some better connections from them, as Ariana will again pick it up. We'll call her name often. She will center it to Schmidt. And that's too far. An early, easy turn as this defensive line cannot hold. Can they hold for much longer, I guess is the better question from Rogue on the O point from Riptide. Posey. And she will find her woman in the end zone for a goal. It took a couple of turns there, but they are able to hold, and it's 1-0 to Riptide early in this game.
Two things really quickly to mention. The first, of course, is that as these youth players continue through their weekend, many of them are finding themselves on a live stream for the first time, and it can be nerve-wracking. You know, the flagged off edges with the sponsor boards, and just the idea that folks are watching at home can put a little bit of the butterfly in your stomach. So they will calm down eventually, but a little bit of excitement there. The second thing, of course, you mentioned is this ability to scout your teams as a tournament like this one is a pretty new development in Ultimate in general. Even if it wasn't on the live stream, and you know, being able to watch a game in the comfort of your hotel room after gameplay is finished for the day, just the ability to send an assistant coach over and watch a team can change the outcome of any matchup. But being able to rewind and play in a live stream format and kind of pause and look at a zone is definitely a development in, kind of to your point, the gamesmanship of our sport. We're seeing it more and more in club, and more of the adult teams, I think, are getting more wary of being on camera and don't necessarily want to show their strategy right away. But we're at YCCs, and this is the culmination of these two teams' season, and so, you know, those strategies have already maybe been broadcast or certainly available over the course of the days of the tournament.
They come down in zone, does Riptide, as Rogue tries to move it, and already a little bit bottled up. And it's a point block on the line. The D there from Kennedy McCarthy, and we're gonna call her name a lot. We'll see here on offense a lot as a receiver, knocks it out of the hands, and now they got an excellent chance for a break here. Emily Posey will walk it up. Let's see what she wants here in a vertical stack. She's got an open receiver, and that's a goal and a break. Be careful, this Riptide will keep going. This team will not stop. They are very focused on this game. Pardon me. And they know what it takes to win, so Rogue has got to find a way to get focused in here. That zone caught them off guard as the talented Kennedy McCarthy got the block.
One of the mental traps we've talked about a lot over the course of the weekend, of course, is when someone puts a #1 seed next to your team name and you benefit from that during pool play and maybe aren't tested over the course of the weekend. Versus if you're maybe seated a little bit lower, then people know how you have an opportunity to test yourself early in pool play and kind of get your legs at a tournament. So Rogue hasn't been very challenged over the course of the weekend. They've sailed through a number of games. So it might just be a little bit of a wake-up call here from Riptide to bring your best to this game.
Well, see, and just to talk a little bit more on that, and we'll get into this, but Kennedy McCarthy there, she plays for Boston Siege, one of the top club teams in that region there. Now, of course, we have her counterpart, Olivia Ariano. You see her on the line there, number 23, plays for Grit. So those are two of the second-tier teams in club in the elite area. And Maggie Pierce is on this team. She's going to UC San Diego, so she'll likely join up with the Psychos. We'll probably end up calling her name later on. Emily Posey, known as one of the best poolers in the high school youth division. There's a decent chance you might see her on the U20 Worlds team. She's already on the radar there. So this Riptide team isn't just some like gritty bunch of locals. They're some serious talent on this squad. So Rogue here with Margot Nissan on the line, number 0 there, the 14-year-old. We saw her brother yesterday for Foggy Bottom Boys. This disc is behind. They are out of sync. Another opportunity now for Riptide to break. Posey, again, on the field, picks it up, finds an open receiver. She'll pop this in the air. This is anyone's disc, and there's Coco going out for it, but no, that's hauled in by Mia Kelly. And another sweet grab there from Kennedy McCarthy. McCarthy will rip this to the end zone. The defender is there.
Oh! Skied! That was an amazing catch
Yeah, do not sleep on Emily Pazzi. That's why she's on the radar of Deanna Ball, and the U20 team picks that out of the sky, the throw from McCarthy.
This is a pretty visionary look cross field. You don't see a lot of young people with that kind of field vision. Just a pretty amazing shaped throw designed to go over everyone in search of, maybe the best player on the field.
Yeah, that's all Posey there. Sorry, the defense there by Chloe Fugel going to Dartmouth. She's a great player there. That's just Posey making a play. The throw there read perfectly by Fugel. She was in position, saw it coming, and a timeout now from DC Rogue. You got to do that. If we get a chance, we're going to try to listen in on this. Let's see. We have a mic over there. Let's see if we can hear it.
First throws of the game. That's what happens. Think about kind of the same adjustments that you're making yesterday, where when you're going downwind, let's have those deep cuts, those big deep cuts. You can shoot that upwind, drive deep, and then get those big work. We've been turning it over at low stall counts, right? Look for those open options because they're there.
Put it out. We got this. All weekend we've been playing great.
You can see Aaron take a deep breath, look for the downwind shots. He wants to get the disc out of the short field and not give another easy opportunity to Riptide, and then working on the upwinds. They are going to be now facing the upwind, so they won't get to punt it downwind and really maybe reset or look for the downwind streaks. But the breath, obviously important. Rogue maybe not have faced this kind of challenge this early in a game yet. Down 3-0 in 2 breaks to this 14 seed Riptide out of the Portland area.
I do appreciate that message from Coachy out there telling their team, you gotta attack in versatile ways on an O-line, especially early in a game. You're trying to set the stage later, right? As the course of the game goes, you wanna make sure that there are areas of the field that are easier to access later. And the best way to do that is to show that defensive line that you're willing to attack it in more than one way. You want to occasionally try and attack the deep space, maybe set up a little bit of a structured moment for one of your tall receivers to get free, maybe over the zone, take that shot, make sure that the defense plays honest, because if you don't invest in that kind of attack pattern early, you're going to kind of put yourself in a bit of a hole, and that zone or whatever defensive look that you're struggling with is just going to get tighter and tighter and harder to get around.
Yeah, kind of an ambush here from Riptide. Unexpected. These turns have come really in the short field. And Rogue now, they had several chances on that first point, and I think they kind of got duped from the turnovers from Riptide, thinking that, this is just another team that we should be able to beat. I don't want to speculate too much. Rogue may know very well how talented this team is coming to this game, so I don't want to talk too much more about this. This zone looked pretty good right now from Rogue as they're moving it quickly. Love this look from them. Taylor Smith, number 14 over there. This will drop back now to Cece Collinson. Call her Coco now to Ariana. Surveying. The zone still in place from Riptide. Collinson. Back to Ariano.
Transitioning defense look here.
Yeah, wow. Oh.
This will come back.
There's a call, yeah, on the rest.
Just for a moment there, DC Rogue looking really confident, cool, seeing 1, maybe 2 power fakes before they were able to move it through the zone, and they ate up a lot of yards that way. But Riptide transitioning into a person defense slowed them back down again and made them look a little bit longer, and that's when they lost flow.
Yeah, well, exactly. Ariana shoots this too long. The head game important now. Riptide doesn't have Posey on the field, so we'll see some of the other playmakers for Riptide now as number 22 Maggie Pierce picks it up, the UC San Diego recruit. She centers up to Claire Mcdonald. Mcdonald with the fakes will break the mark, and that's going to work right now for Riptide on defense here with Clater. Our 2 Claters out here. That is Lauren Clater. Back to Pierce.
Oh, well caught.
The bid there from Collinson. Pierce. Her mom in the Hall of Fame.
Uh-oh.
And we have an unfortunate player down here. Already has suffered a knee injury on this team. Sophie Marcotte, one of their deep receivers, one of their excellent cutters, with a patellar knee injury. This looks like it could be another one. That is terrible news for Riptide. The roster of 18 down one already, and we may lose another here.
Give them a moment to collect themselves.
So everyone takes a knee here or sits down on the field. Hey, Alex. Yeah. We might hear. We have a listener on the sideline. So both teams will have a moment here. Do we get to see the number of the player down?
I did not catch it before.
I thought it might have been Claire Mcdonald.
You did mention one of the power grabs during that point was by number 11. I think we misidentified her. That was Kennedy McCarthy. But the player who's down on the field, you are correct, it is Claire Mcdonald, number 43. Still just a 15-year-old on this squad, one of the youngest groups. And I think we are going to get a look at it briefly. Not sure if we have another angle on it. Glad to see her standing up and shaking it out. But she'll go take a break on the sideline, and we'll get an injury sub in, and perhaps even the counterpart sub on the side of DC Road. She is walking of her own power, and that's great to see.
What a relief there. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, the team lost one of their great players here at this tournament already, Sophie Marcotte, going to the University of Michigan to a patellar knee injury. And so certainly our thoughts go out to her as well. So now the observer here, the instructional observer, will see what this calls. It looks like a contested foul. They're going to send this back to the thrower, is my guess.
As a reminder for those of you following along at home, I think as teams reach semifinals, it's more popular to kind of have family watch parties somewhere in a living room to keep an eye on. But we also know that there are parents on the sideline who want to hear the commentary as if we were kind of live and on a PA system. If you have questions for us or interesting tidbits about these players, we'd love to hear from you. Both Tony and I are on Twitter and would be happy to respond to you. There's also, comment threads on the Facebook and the YouTube stream that people are having eyes on and can relay to us. So yeah, love to hear from you, where you're watching from, who you're cheering for, and anything else you want to let us know about the YCC Club Championships.
Yeah, Alex Posey told us he was listening in on ears. Alex Posey, the father of Emily and Annie out here on the field. And of course, the organizer and longtime leader. And there's a hand block from Coco Collinson. CC Collinson gets a piece of that disc. That's why she's out there. One of the celebrities on this. We saw an interview with her after the Disc Northwest Tier 206 tour, but unfortunately, conservation of greatness, she's unable to complete the next pass as the Riptide zone comes down. A turn of events quick. Collinson goes down. Riptide receives, and she's looking for the score is McCarthy. Has to drop it back. Sorry, that's Pierce now. Pierce to McCarthy.
Nice catch there from McCarthy. And that's another break.
And she played on that Felix team that, if you caught an earlier broadcast,
it's such a small world.
The undefeated Bay Area Felix team. She won a number of titles with the Condors, the Lady Condors. Crush Club, I think she won with as well. A lot of West Coast teams before moving out to this area here. And the recipient of this pass, McCarthy, her father, Dennis McCarthy, of course, one of the founders of Death or Glory, the 6-time national champion in the men's division from Boston. Also likes to lay claim to credit in inventing the clam defense. As we're going to listen into this huddle right here from Riptide.
Molly.
0-0 right now. Game to 1. Win this one.
Really interesting to see more and more youth players who have been raised by elite club ultimate players. Definitely an influx of talent. We mentioned this in the last broadcast as well. Just being able to be taught how to throw in your own backyard as a youngster. Many of these young people already playing for 8 years or so. Truly an impressive feat as more and more middle school programs and even elementary school leagues have been started in some of our, affiliate states and other organizations supporting Ultimate. Really appreciate that, and you can see the yield, right? These are some powerhouse talents who, still very young, have not even begun to peak. Can't imagine what their ceiling looks like.
Posey here, also known for running Clambake herself one year in her father's stead. So one of the youngest tournament directors in land. Clambake, whoa,
wow.
run through.
But nope, a foul will be called.
Okay, so that's Gunther on the run through. Claire Schmidt here on offense. She's going to University of Chicago to play with that team. They'll send this disc back. Look clean from our side, but we're kind of blocked, and they'll talk about it a little bit.
I was starting to notice on the last possession that a number of these rogue throws are behind the player or slightly out of reach. And what that usually indicates is that the defensive pressure is positioned in a very hard to find spot. And the thrower is kind of double checking their throw and maybe waiting a half a second too long before they release it. That's a good indicator that Riptide's defense is maybe the hardest that DC Rogue has seen so far.
Yeah.
But it is an indicator for DC Rogue to either be more decisive on their cuts or be a little bit more intentional on their faking and throwing.
Okay.
Oh, again, just a little bit too high on that.
Riptide will put this. It's going to hang. It's anybody's ball at this point, and it's easily D'd by Rogue. That is Ava McKay getting in there. And this huck from Claire Schmidt will come right away for Z Rattleman, but that's going to be too far and will tail out of bounds. They are doing a little bit of everything to try to find the rhythm, Aaron, but right now it's nothing but turnovers from the Rogue side as Posey will saunter down to pick this one up.
We did get to listen into that huddle where coach of DC Rogue was mentioning that he did want them to attack the deep space. And I think his message was more that the turnovers in a short field were not advantageous. So, yes, a lot of turnovers, but the ones that make Riptide work 70 yards are much better than the ones that only let them work 10 yards.
Looks like a contested stall count. I thought that happened a little fast. Maybe no contest even. No contest. Excellent defense there from Miranda Baltax. A stall here, and this will be a turn, but the observer saying, well, okay, you have to check it in over here before you just kind of run downfield. So Baltax will then check it. I do want to note that Baltax and Maggie Pierce, two players out here that were volunteering for Ultimate Peace. For a couple weeks during the summer here. Always great to see that as we bring the principles of Ultimate's spirit of the game to conflict areas around the world. Schmidt will get this, but no, off her hands. Another opportunity for Riptide. Posey again with the disc. Nice forehand. Will this stay in? It will tail out a little bit. They come up firing again, though. Riptide consistently showing that they'll put it deep.
This is the first point, though, of the game where there has been this much back and forth. So either a little bit of an energy change, right? Or something. Something is different in this point. It's just a little bit more contentious and back and forth and maybe even on both sides of the field.
Molly Hale gets that disc. Hanley will pick up and connect through down the line to Watson.
Interesting. It sounded like Rattleman thought that was out of bounds.
Radman with a nice bid there. This Posey has to go up early, and she does. As she finds her teammate there, Hale, who made that D. Back to Hanley, looking for Posey. Posey's got it. This is a great shot here now. Will it float out of bounds or stay in? It's in! I believe that's a goal. We're going to take a look. Maybe a little out. They call it a goal. The observer has called this a goal. They're pointing over. Okay, he's just reacting, I'm sorry, to the players on the field. I got a little excited. We're going to take a look here. Great play from Mia Kelly here. see if she can keep her feet in bounds. It's tough from this angle to tell. We do not see the line there. I think the out of bounds might be the proper call here. 2 Rogue players there in position. This huck will come right away for Rattleman. Z Rattleman's got the spacing. Now she might put it to her teammate, number 52. That's Myers. Myers with the disc. They've got a chance now. This is what they needed, just this little breath of air. Rattleman. She made several defensive plays. Now what can she do on offense? Back to Neeson. There's the D from Mia Kelly, and Riptide will not stop. The defense too good from Riptide.
A lot going on in this point right now.
I'll take a breath as well.
Yes, we'll just breathe in with me. Oh, breathe out. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard in these circumstances when you're not on the board yet as an offensive line, because there's an urgency to everything that you do, and sometimes it can be too urgent. You can go too fast. Sarah Lord and I were talking a lot during the last DC Rogue game, just about, you want to go fast, but you don't want to hurry. So my basketball coach always used to say, be quick, but don't hurry. And I think, oh, okay. Well then, on the board. We are on the board with Rogue. It is 4-1. That was a long, grinded out point, and DC Rogue finally in an opportunity where they can play defense.
That was Selewski. High stall count. Margot Neeson really pinned down. A lot of props to this defense. The score by Rogue, they kind of needed that, but really the point there still to Riptide. That was a defensive possession. They didn't have some of their top players on the line there in Pierce and in McCarthy. They got Posey in on the sub, but Neeson makes the play here to bomb it deep, and Selewski just makes a great play with her height to catch this one. Update quickly on score in the other side, as it's kind of a Mid-Atlantic versus Northeast battle here on both sides of semis and the under 20 girls division. The Triangle Area Triforce, sorry, not Triforce, that's the men's team, boys team. It's the Warhawks, the defending champion, who had defeated Rogue last year. They are up 5-1 currently on Buddha. Buddha standing for Boston Ultimate Disc Alliance. So again, 2 battles of the Mid-Atlantic versus the Northeast. And right now the Northeast winning this one, and the Mid-Atlantic winning the other semifinal. So this will come back to Annie Pazzi now, number 19, the younger sister of Emily at 13, seeing the field for the first time that we've seen her out there, and she's got some skills. She will be the point person in the cup as a handler, and there's a nice grab from McCarthy, an open receiver in the end zone, and she finds her for the quick hold and return from Riptide.
I think that was Devin Quinn. Just a well-placed disc over that DC Rogue cup, leading to the deep in the zone. Claire Schmidt trying to make a play for her team, but Kennedy McCarthy comes down with it and has a wide open receiver. Being the deep in a zone can be quite difficult to gauge when you should commit 100% to a defensive opportunity and when to sit back. Admire the decisiveness there of Claire Schmidt. Just a game of inches on some of these throws and catches right now.
McCarthy, known as a track athlete, she set a record for middle distance track in New Hampshire this year. So we see her getting up in the air, but her speed and endurance also another factor, as we will listen into this huddle from the exuberant Riptide as another timeout is being called here.
Chance for DC Rogue to regroup with their offensive line, who of course had a battle not just 2 points ago. So a little bit of a reminder maybe to go smoother and cleaner and find open hands, but really just excitement in the Riptide huddle. Just a lot of energy in there, a lot of chatting, individual conversations. Keeping that energy is going to be probably the key goal for Riptide right now.
See some of the Rogue players step over to the other sidelines. Got to have that. You need to have your team on both sidelines to keep the energy up and the focus on. Let your team know where your players are. as we see the coaching staff. That's Jackie Watson with a hat there, Cleary with the big hair, and Kate Patterson you'll see in there with the red hair and the hat. That's the coaching staff for this Riptide team. There's Chuck Cleary. You might know him as Unbreakable. He's a great cinematographer in his own right. I've worked with him a number of times. He's a friend. So shout out to Chuck Cleary. Yeah, what did I say? Unbreakable? Unchuckable.
I don't know. If you're an offensive player and your nickname is Unbreakable, that's pretty good.
Yeah, except I've seen him make a number of turns. But I think they were all left-handed forehands, and that's his offhand. So that was his excuse for why he was turfing it, because it was he was just kind of playing around. There's the Posey sisters right there, Emily and Annie together. If I could be wrong about this, so I don't want to say that actually, but it looked like.
I think Emily had a braid come undone, so she does.
And that's Maribel Colin.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Colin with the disc. No. Yes, that was.
Number 44 is
yeah,
Emily.
that's Emily Posey.
Yep. No, I just I noticed that one of her braids came undone, and that can be really distracting. So she has.
Oh, so she changed
just,
her hair.
Yeah, she's just changed that setup there, which may have thrown us off a little bit, but high pony now with Emily Posey.
The Posey pipeline, as this throw will nicely placed actually. That's a perfect in rhythm throw. And the receiver tracks that down well. That's Paige Dillon. She has to drop it back for Collinson. Collinson with the big fake. Now looking to reset to Fugel. Can't find her through the end zone instead, and it's too far. A foul is called.
Going to go a little coach corner on this one.
Yes.
I know number 8, Cece Collinson, is a captain of this team, and it is probably is bearing a lot of weight right now in this matchup and really feeling a lot of pressure to score, but she waited until stall 7 here to maybe even throw, spent a lot of time asking for her shot, and yes, got fouled, but had some handlers in the backfield she could have reset to maybe on stall 4. But she finds Paige Dillon, and that is a conversion for DC Rogue.
A hold for Rogue. Just a counterpoint to what Aaron said. I thought Fugel was shut down pretty good there by Riley Knupp. So sometimes, yeah, but she should have turned to look for that reset. You're right. You know, she didn't give Fugel a chance to get open. Instead, a little bit of end zone eyes from Collinson. But they do get the score as Dillon reels it in. Hold for Rogue as they're starting to find a little bit of a better groove now. Now the task will be for them to stop the Riptide offense.
So last time they came down in a zone that they had a lot of success with yesterday when it was a lot windier than it is right now. So if they want to invest in that, that's their prerogative, of course. But, you know, Riptide able to kind of quickly go over the top of that. So I'd be interested to see a person defense with maybe a straight-up mark to prevent the big looks that are being successful for Riptide. I'd also be interested in seeing those marks with some higher hands to see if they can have the same success with lower release points at this point.
You're looking at Maya Ruguchi earlier on the line for Riptide. And again, the main puller here for Rogue, Olivia Ariano with the disc in her hands. Next to her, Emma Salevsky. We had a big sky earlier, the first one of the game for Rogue, as Ariano will pull it down. See what Riptide comes with, or let's see more basketball with a U17. Oh, she came up with a U17 team last year here. Aaron played Ultimate for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Last
Quick
year.
Quick study.
Uh-huh. But the ups from Kelly you see right there. And we've seen her on a number of unders, too. Not only does she have the ability to get up in the air, but her focus and concentration on getting some of these tightly contested coming under shots. Yeah, big-time receiver for them, paired with McCarthy, the Siege player. And you can see why this team has power in a lot of positions.
I come from basketball as well. I played basketball for 9 years as a young person. A lot of similar movements, a lot of similar patterns. I think it's a really good, I mean, one of the reasons why Kelly able to pick up the game in, like a year is probably because so many of the motions seem familiar to her. And that makes a lot of sense. Many of the ways that she's gotten open so far in this game are very similar to what you would do kind of through the paint in basketball to get the ball and get a shot off. So cool to see that kind of, I don't know, like escalated learning situation. It was just a really quick ramp up. She obviously an integral part of this Riptide team already.
Athletes love competition in sports, you know, and also the other thing I think that translates in basketball, well, we talked about this earlier, field sense is one, and the hands, you know, just having good hands is always a good thing to have in basketball. So getting to that disc, a little different than soccer where you have to have good footwork. And now this zone is really strong. Forced punt. Posey will go up and sky for it for the D for Riptide, and now they have another chance to break. Nice pickup there as the defense from Collinson tried to come in to Clater. Lauren Clater now resets to Hanley, and there's a call. So we'll probably hold with Hanley. That's what I saw as the defense resets downfield on a pick. So Hanley now with the disc. Caitlin Hanley going to Bates. Bates and Bowden, two of the big schools in Maine. Now McCarthy with the disc. Drops it back for Hanley. Tries to get the give and go. Hanley instead up the line to an open receiver. There's Posey. She's open. She's got two defenders on her.
Wow. That's a nice grab.
Looking like a ballerina out there is Emily Posey. That's kind of what she does. Get used to it. We'll be seeing that for a long time. Count down the years till when she's on Brute Squad, because it's going to happen unless she moves out to the West Coast.
Looks like she's going to attend Vermont in the fall. Oh, no, we're talking about, oh, I'm sorry. That's Kennedy McCarthy. I was just thinking about the similarity between the two catches, right? So there was a catch by Posey right now up here on the right end zone where she leapt because she felt the defender coming, kind of high pointed it and landed very gracefully. And Kennedy had a similar one downfield on this left end zone. So apologize for getting those two mixed up. But you're right. You're absolutely right. This is just
bookends too.
Good. She also had time to kind of spot her landing and make sure she was in bounds, which is an elevated kind of perception sense there.
Love this jump man look if you're familiar with the Jordan logo. She's got the left and right legs spread apart a little bit. Ready to use her body and her length, her height, her ups. Alex on the sideline. Dad Posey, pretty psyched about that, I'm sure. Then again, he's probably seen that often.
Yeah. I don't know. I appreciate that Maya Moore in the WNBA is taking over more of the Jordan style marketing on the women's side. So Posey certainly emulating a player like that out of basketball right now. Looking great, jumping high. We're seeing a lot of great things out here, both like intellectually, like sports knowledge and IQ, and just athleticism right now.
Collinson through the zone. That works, but for how long, Collinson? Over to Ariana. She's trying to find space, but it's not there. This Riptide zone is frightening. Collinson, she's got the skills to break the zone. She's gonna need help. Ariana, the woman to help. She's got a hammer now. If she needs it to swing it, Collinson might look for that instead. Almost a double team here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, it's a tricky situation. It is a double team until you have a second offensive player come in to that place. So you got to just watch it a little bit on offense and make sure that you're clearing out of the space so that that's even a viable violation call. Foul called on this throw. Kennedy seems to have made contact with Fugel on the throw.
Oh.
Nice bid by Ariano. Blade over the top. Big put out to space. Ball tax.
She'll put it, and that's a score.
That's great. That's great movement over the top of that zone and a little bit of a flash of a more confident DC Rogue team. We know it's in there.
Exactly. Taylor Smith, that's kind of really the missing ingredient, is getting that confidence back. I mean, it's not like this team can't roll with these girls. That's not the case at all. They got to find out the where they're going to get their, their looks from. Coming into this game, some of the coaching staff from Riptide told me that they saw on offense what they like to do. They're going to run a side stack with 2 isolation cutters. We're going to force them back into the stack. And we saw that on the first point of the game, first offensive possession for Rogue. They kind of gummed up that whole stack. That's why we saw all those turns happen. So you got to give a lot of credit, not to the athleticism. Well, let's give a lot of credit to the athleticism of the players on the field, but the strategy right off the bat from Riptide has really gummed up Rogue. So that's why we're seeing so many turns come from this veteran Rogue team.
We still have yet to see Rogue throw a defensive look, to your point, that makes Riptide adjust their offensive strategy. I'm a bit of a defensive nerd, and I like to think about ways to take an offensive player's favorite thing away. And so far, Riptide just doing all their favorite things. So really looking here for DC to turn up the heat or show us a little bit different of a look. We want to interrupt that flow.
Well, this is what they like, ripping it deep. And Ragucci puts it on a platter to Quinn. What a shot. Didn't know she had that throw, as this will be a score for Ragucci. She gets it back. She earned that one. That's going to be half for Riptide. Wow.
Well, I think at this point, we just have to assume that they all have all the throws, I think, is the assumption. That was beautifully put. It outpaced the deep defender. Just a nice look. I love the aggressive huck over the zone mentality. I think it's a great choice to do. We are going to try and head down to the field and get some thoughts from one of these players or coaches as Tony dismounts from the scaffolding and hustles over. Just a number of really nice throws and plays so far from, really both teams. But the story in this game so far, just all about Riptide, right? Coming out of that very clearly inaccurate seed at the initial 14 seed, coming into the tournament, unbeaten so far in the tournament, and putting on a pretty dominant performance here. Interested to hear from one of these players who is already having a stellar showing in this game in particular, but also interested to see how DC Rogue can kind of emerge out of halftime, maybe refreshed, maybe with some new confidence, maybe with some more positive body language. I think we are going to be talking to the Posey sisters, and so let's go ahead and go down to Tony.
Together as sisters, and how long have you been playing Ultimate?
I've been playing for 7 years. Annie's been playing for 6. Yeah. We've always played together. I think we have really good chemistry on the field, and we've always played pretty similarly.
How do you time your jumps? You get up there pretty quick in the air. What's it? What does it take for you to do that?
There was 1 year in 5th grade where I thought people looked cool when they jumped and caught it, so I practiced jumping and catching it a lot. And we both kind of started doing that, and it worked.
Okay, and last thoughts here. Girls are looking good. What's the thoughts on halftime for what to do for the second half?
I think we just need to come out strong. Yeah. We know that their comebacks are possible.
And come back with the same fire that we started out with, because that seemed to work for us.
Cool. Thank you, Emily and Annie Posey. Great to see you out there. And we'll throw it back up to Aaron, and good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony, for being our roving reporter down there. Always fun to get the thoughts from these U20 athletes as they compete in the culmination of their season. We have 3 more minutes of halftime or so, so we're going to go ahead and let you take a break, but we'll be back here shortly to cover the second half of the semifinal matchup in the U20 women's division of the Youth Club Championships. Thanks so much. Really happy to welcome you back to the second half action here in the Women's U20 division of the Youth Club Championship. I'm Erin Maraca, and I'm here with Tony Leonardo, and you're watching a matchup between DC Rogue and Portland, Maine Riptide. The story of the first half is that Riptide is having themselves a game and a tournament, and DC Rogue maybe wasn't quite ready to face a matchup like this one. We're going to see Riptide in white on your screen start play for us on defense. And DC Rogue really looking for some offensive confidence and chemistry so that they can come out here and try to get some defensive stops. Need to make a move pretty soon here if they want to stay in this game.
That's right, Margot Neeson, the young player here. Her brother Jacques, we saw earlier at 14 here. Margot Neeson gets it up to, I believe that's, in case she'll send this. If this hangs in, this should be a reception, and it is for Chloe Fugel. Bit of a stoppage here. Chance Cochran there with the blonde hair on the sidelines, plays for Truck Stop, one of the assistant coaches on this team, trying to help out his Rogue women. And centered to Coco. That's Collinson, number 8. She's got an open cut to the front cone, and it's caught. Well done. Nice piece of it there by Miranda Baltax as the long arm of the law takes that disc.
I like that phrase. We've talked a little bit about Miranda in the last few streaming games. She'll be attending Michigan, but she does spend a few summers actually with that Ultimate Peace organization. We're happy to have Sarah Lord tell us a little bit more about how that organization works in a prior broadcast. But Lord is back on the sideline to cheer on these DC Rogue women, along with some of her elite Club Ultimate friends, like you do.
The bid there from Devin Quinn, a good one, but Baltax with the reach. And she needed every bit of that couple inches of advantage in length that she had to get to that disc, as Quinn was all the way there.
There's Lord.
She heard us talking about her, I guess. Sarah Lord, of course, played with this Rogue team. Did she come over with when Jenny Fay switched to coaching to bring in Carolyn Tornquist? I think you see over in this corner here. Is that Caitlin Lee, Carolyn Tornquist? Yep.
Yep. So I know Tornquist was on Rogue last year, but Sarah Lord, unfortunately, not young enough to have been on DC Rogue, which has just been at this tournament, I think, for 2 or 3 years.
On one of those other teams, Justice or
perhaps.
Swing Vote?
You know, Lord gave us a lot of insight into the DC community, but I didn't do enough, apparently, biographical research on Sarah's career. So I'll have to have coffee with her eventually and learn all of the deets.
So a little bit of pressure here now on Riptide to see if they can answer back. A 4-goal cushion is theirs, and they have the disc. Picked up there by Maggie Pierce. Finds Ragucci. Ragucci will send it. This is what they do best, but there's a big, deep defender in Claire Schmidt, and she'll bounce it out of the sky. If they're going to come up firing, I like Schmidt back there for Rogue. And that worked so far. Let's see what they can do on offense. Throws into a hot defender there, as that's Maggie Pierce coming to get it back for her team. A sky there from the youngest Posey. Annie Posey now with the disc. Up the line to Ragucci, it's a goal. It's just that difficult to move the disc against this Riptide team. I don't know what to say. They're all over every pass.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But, you know, maybe more importantly, or at least first in kind of the timeline there of that point, Ragucci needs a straight-up mark at the very least, right?
Yeah.
She continues to just put up these beautiful flicks up over the defense. And, you know, that one got a hand on it for sure, but it is a lot more work for your kind of defensive, offensive line, your D-line's offense to go 70 yards than it would be for them to go maybe 40, right? So if we put a flat mark on Ragucci, maybe make her swing it, maybe play harder defense in the handler set, maybe able to pick off a pass there and then go in fast break style without defenders down there, I think that would be advantageous to implement. In the meantime, again, to your point, having Claire Schmidt pick up on the cone with 70 yards to go and no receivers in space because all those defenders are still, adequately positioned. It's a little bit of a different situation. It's much more difficult to do it the way that they're doing right now.
Well, after that huck from Ragucci, to the defense, you think that like maybe you'd be caught off guard, your offensive line there, as we see Emily Posey getting ready to pull another one. Again, one of the notable pullers in the game. She plays for, by the way, another club team, Frolic, the Portland-based team, women's club division team, for her pulls. But it seems like they knew the huck was going to come on offense, and they were right away focused on defense if the huck wasn't going to connect. So it's kind of like a punt and play D, except that they happen to be connecting on a lot of those hucks.
See Riptide back in this zone look. Rogue, of course, had some success a few points ago when they threw some blades over the top of it.
It's going to be a strip call. I think that's a pretty good call. Collinson here, the defense from Pierce. So Collinson will say that's a strip. Pierce will think about it.
Get to another look at it here. Love the rewind.
Yeah, the rewind's pretty cool.
Play is restarted down on the field.
Collinson will again probably go to the hammer across the top because she has that, but no, she drops it off to Marston. Fakes the around, now goes through the cup to Neeson.
It's a nice little through break.
Fugel now. Collinson was going to be the intended recipient, but Pierce gets another one.
Here's another big look.
It's to McCarthy. We know she can get up. Bam.
Not quite in. Looks like she's right on the line. Oof.
A little bit behind her intended receiver on the dump. And now McCarthy will mark Collinson. They're still in that zone. Neeson. Pierce almost gets another one. This one will shoot deep. And Posey will make sure that has no chance. As she swats it out of the sky, she'll go and pick it up. Pretty good line out here for Riptide on defense. Scary when you see Posey and Pierce and McCarthy on the same line. And now again, another break opportunity for Riptide. McCarthy will put this deep. She's got an open receiver. She's there. It's a goal. Riptide is staying strong, as that is Devin Quinn with the goal.
Yeah, another maybe third or fourth goal for Devin Quinn already this game, making a statement back there. Just this Riptide offensive pace is so fast right now. They are barely holding onto the disc for more than about one stall count. They've got open looks and open spaces everywhere. And in direct contrast, right, these DC Rogue players holding the disc for a little bit longer and, unfortunately, just finding the other team's hands instead of their own teams.
Look at McCarthy get up there. Yikes, that is scary. She is going to be a pretty good player in her own right for UVM. That college team has been knocking on the doorstep at nationals. They've been in the top 20 for a long time now. They might have even gone this year. I can't remember. I think I'll have to check my notes on that, but McCarthy will probably help that team keep going on the upswing trajectory that they have going on there in Burlington.
Yeah, I keep thinking about the plays that have happened over the last few days that are going to end up in someone's Callahan video eventually.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
Right, I love it a little bit. I do, to harken back to our conversation in the last game, many of these players will attend college and play Ultimate there, but certainly a number of different valid steps forward in their lives as both humans and Ultimate players. We hope that they find something that fits with them. And I do hope that there are ways for kind of U24 players to find their way into a Worlds tryout or a Callahan video without necessarily attending college. Sometimes I feel like that's an obstacle.
We just talked to one.
Right.
Josh Wu.
So like, again, a completely valid life choice to do something that makes him happy and feel fulfilled. But, you know, we want to see more of him in Ultimate. We'd love to see him on future live streams. So we really hope that he continues on in his club capacity and isn't afraid to, you know, apply for Worlds anyway, regardless of college affiliation.
Well, I'm going to say it now. Put him on a Worlds team, please. I mean, honestly.
There are also a number of women on the field right now where you know, if Deanna Ball is around, if this can count as their tryout, they're shoo-ins.
We know Pazzi. At this point, it's going to be a surprise if Emily Pazzi doesn't make the U20 team. I'm going to say that out loud now on the stream, but it's kind of like a known secret in the circles. You know, we've got Collinson, Ariano. Those are some big looks here. And McCarthy, I'm sure, as this overthrow comes from Tide, and a chance Claire Schmidt will hang this, and there's a chance for the offense, defense. It's tipped around, it's knocked, it's down, and no call. Tide will pick it up.
You know, that throw didn't go exactly the way that I expected to, but it was well read by those DC Rogue players. Just a little bit of an unfortunate miss there, but certainly a good opportunity. Here we go with another huck.
Oh boy, to Mia Kelly. Can she track this down?
Oh, nice bid attempt. Really happy that it was on the grassy part of the field as she was headed for that dirt patch. That does not feel good when you land in a dirt patch, so.
She probably would have loved that to hang up a little bit more. Raguchi came up firing to the open Mia Kelly, but a little too long. And a chance here for Rogue to hold again. Collinson, they have bottled up this offense all day. Rattleman with the disc.
Yeah.
A flat mark is
Ariano
tough.
calling for that disc. She wants it, and this.
That's not the person you want to throw against.
That was a nice look if Kennedy was not nearby. Kennedy McCarthy, of course, that track athlete with a ridiculous closing speed. And a timeout will be called here.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to test McCarthy in the air, but yeah, I think that was an off woman, right? Like, that wasn't her player?
I don't think it was, yeah. I think that's just pretty good help defense there by McCarthy. I don't know, I always think about decision-making as a grid, right? And one of the axes is, do you have the throw? Was the throw a good throw? The other axis is, you know, was it actually a good choice? And so, you know, the Ariano throw, beautiful throw, well-shaped, would have hit a receiver in stride. The choice, of course, is look at who's in the area, evaluate, right? And having McCarthy peel off there and have two defenders nearby certainly meant that someone else was open. So, yeah, that little grid check of decision-making, certainly a helpful thing to think about. Speaking of Deanna Ball, she is striding up to our field right now, probably to get a look at some of these players. Nah.
She can watch the stream. She probably wouldn't watch the stream.
She can sit in the shade and watch the stream on TV.
She's going to tell us, shh, stop talking about. There she is, Deanna Ball, of course, longtime board member, chairman of the board, talking to Caitlin Lee. Caitlin Lee, I believe, was on one of those. It's been on several of those U24 or U20 teams, so they probably know each other from there.
Just all of them.
He waves the kid. Hi, Deanna.
We'll come back in after this timeout. I think McCarthy called this timeout because she just didn't really like what she was looking at downfield and wanted to get more organized. So we are seeing a little bit of an angled vert stack here. And they, of course, have to set first for those of you at home who maybe aren't quite sure. So offense has to stay put and say they're ready, and then the defensive players can get in there. So in response to this angled stack, we see Claire Schmidt in a bit of a poach lane here, maybe in a bigger bracket with Ariano, trying to take away some underlooks. Just these high point catches are just a great technical pattern.
Gucci open there. The throw, though, a little short as Pierce came up firing, and the defense was true from Ariano. Collinson sees Ariano, and we hear a do it call from the sideline, but she's
wow. Well, I don't know if we have a play of the game yet, but that's in the running for sure. That was a layout D by Kennedy McCarthy, just about as clean as you can possibly get.
And a little bit of a stoppage here. Yeah. the run through. We're going to look at this as they are clamping.
Oh.
Well, that looks pretty good. She gets a little head bonk from that, but I'm sure she's not going to notice that one. And now Riptide, another chance to break. Trapped on the sideline, they're going to have to get it off, and she does. Littell finds Hanley, who puts it up. It's going to hang and intercepted by Ariano.
Ariano coming up with a couple big Ds for her team in this end zone lately. Certainly a fiery player, trying to put something together for her team. Just went deep on the last point and then came back and handled. This is a nice pass by Claire Schmidt. Just unfortunately, I think receiver Paige Dillon was trying to think ahead a little bit and see who was around her, unable to hold it down.
And they'll take a seat here or on their knee for an injury as we see Leah Silverman step off the field there. Hope she's all right. Just needs some water, hopefully. Take a breath. She might have lost a contact.
Oh, no, I think she's being handed her inhaler.
Yeah.
It is very humid out here in Minnesota today. Sorry, welcome to Minnesota. But it can make breathing
Thanks for having
difficult.
us.
Yeah, anytime. But it makes the air feel heavier. And if you already have either sports-induced or regular asthma, it can feel like some heavy thing is sitting on your chest while you're running around out there. So hope Silverman feels better shortly. Collinson taking this McCarthy matchup.
Too far, but Bergucci tracks it down. Originally intended for Hanley.
Nice, there we go. Claire Schmidt taking my advice telepathically and going straight up and getting a hand block.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take any credit. No credit for me. All the credit for Claire Schmidt. Nicely done there on the mark.
Yeah, yep. Just like as you said, you knew Bergucci was going to come up firing, but
ooh.
This really is the problem, is that they're also not accounting for Pierce and McCarthy getting these run-throughs out there. I've lost track of how many these two players have got.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Claire Schmidt in this flat mark on Ragucci, which I really like. And a little bit of handler pressure, maybe with an opportunity here for Rogue to score. And the wind is picking up just a bit if you see a flag in the background. So this is a downwind opportunity for Rogue, and Ariano will pick up. Nice bid there.
Rattleman going down for it. Z Rattleman, and a timeout here from Coco. CC Collinson. We'll see if we can get into the huddle on this one. There's CC. Been a tough game for her, as the defense, I think they're just in all the throwing lanes. You can never quite know where they're coming from. It's kind of scary facing that. Aaron, I'm sure you've been in that situation where it's like every look you have, you think you got an open player, and then the next thing you know, there's a defender running through there. It's kind of frightening.
It can be, but I think the thing to remember is just because you're not open on the open side doesn't mean there are other places you can go. We're going to get another look at the play of the game right here from McCarthy. Just a beautiful, clean layout D. But really, you know, fakes and pivoting from a thrower and understanding that those open under, or not open unders, those unders feel contested. As a cutter downfield, you can just change your cutting pattern a little bit, try to go a little bit wider on your cut to push that defender out a little bit, and then really attacking the break side is the next move, right? If someone is covering you that stiflingly on the under, then the break throw has to be open. It just has to be. So, you know, there are a lot of other ways to change your mindset in these situations, and one of them is just to kind of understand that the under is probably not going to happen and then go break. And once you can start that break side kind of pattern and get flow on the break side, anything becomes possible because the defenders are not over there.
You know, and I have to say, I want the coaches to be able to explain that clearly to them. Like, the coaches need to, earlier in this game, dial up a different offensive set for this Rogue team and tell them, look, we're not getting these cutting lanes open like we are used to. So let's move a dump and swing, you know, flood to one side. Let's get a dominator set. Let's do something. But continuing to throw into these contested lanes with McCarthy and Pierce getting run-throughs, and we're not even talking about Posey, you know, they got to change it up, and they haven't really done that.
That upline look, another example, right? If the upline feels contested, then that 7 or button hook cut in that handler set is usually open.
Right.
And as a thrower, if you can, you know, send a convincing fake, right? All good fakes are throws that just haven't been released yet. So you put out that fake. If it's wide open, you let go. If it's not wide open, you holster. The defender might overplay it, and then if your offensive player can cut back into that space, you usually have that a little bit of an IO look, and that should be wide open. You know, cutting in Ultimate is 3-dimensional, and if you find something covered, there are usually 2 other options where you can go and get the disc.
Hanley hangs this, but it's well tracked down there by Audrey Watson. Watson and Pierce are cousins, as we see the 2 of them right there.
Where'd you get that trivia?
Well, so we saw the huddle earlier of Jackie Watson.
Yeah.
So, and her last name was, sorry, Jackie Pierce, and her last name was Watson.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I kind of had a sense of that, and then the coaches told me that yesterday that they were related.
Oh, wow, just a number of these games, kind of a family trip, so to speak, to Minnesota. I hope they're spending a little bit of extra time. We
Did you
have
go to the
some
Minnesota
stuff.
State Fair?
That doesn't happen for a while yet. I don't think.
Last time I came to Minnesota for a tournament, the Minnesota State Fair was happening. That was awesome.
Yeah,
That's a pretty legendary event. This is
It
a
is.
stall, so this is a turn, and Ariano will pick it up and drop it back down to Schmidt. We know she has the range under to Collinson. Collinson will look.
Oh, here we go.
See, that's a perfect throw in rhythm
That's clean and pretty.
to Emily Salewski.
I like that flow. That flow looks nice. They can keep doing that. But to back to our point, there's always an open space on the field. There is literally no way as a defender that you can stop a player from doing all of the things. And so as an offensive player, you need to recognize that it's your advantage, right? And if you continue to do exactly what the defense wants you to do, you know, you got to make an adjustment. So love to see that. I think that action was all on the break side. So that was a great move here. I guess I can't really tell, that mark hadn't been set yet.
Yeah, unmarked.
But still, good flow, good right away, not holding on to the disc for more than half a stall count, maybe 1 stall count at the very most.
I like these handshakes after the end of the goals. You know, it's up to the, there's Z Rattleman saying hi to our camera folks and to us. Here's our trivia question of the day. This goes, if you're Jackie Watson, sorry, Jackie Pierce, you know, she...
Hyphenated?
I think she might be, no, it's not hyphenated, but
it's not,
she won a lot of championships as Jackie Watson, and then she got married, and so now she's Jackie Pierce.
Okay, so Nee Watson.
So exactly. She will know the answer to this one, but I'm not sure if our viewers in this youth division might. What player has the most combined college and club open national championships, not counting the Masters division? And I'm not 100% sure. The number I will tell you is 11 championships. This player won a couple with
So you're saying,
Jackie Watson.
Oh, so that, wait, did you say open division?
So I will say that we used to refer to open as the men's and women's. Now it's called men's and women's, but at the time it was also open and women's, I guess. But sometimes you would also use open to refer to both divisions, open and women's.
Oh, okay, so it's regardless of division, national champions.
Correct, just
Okay.
not masters.
Okay,
So
just wanted to clarify.
college and club, yeah.
All right, cool.
So it could be a women's player, a men's player,
Or a
or an
mixed player.
open player,
Yeah.
or a mixed player.
Okay. That was
So-
a offsides pull, I believe. So we are re-pulling here with Ariano. I'm not sure which side was offsides, to be honest.
So the winner of this game likely to face the Warhawks, defending champion. That team is a good one. I would love to be streaming that game. I think we're going to do the boys final instead. You may be able to catch that game on another channel. I'm sure there's a way to watch it. But look forward to what's likely to be Riptide as they have a 5-goal advantage. See if they hold here. Posey picking it up and getting an upline to her. Devin Quinn, one of the speedier players on this team. Quinn finds Isabel Clater.
Oh.
Schmidt with the clean block, but Clater turns around and says,
"Oh no, she's just marking."
Yeah.
Schmidt will put it up for Ariano. This disc sits, but Ariano with position.
Great opportunity here for Rogue. A break opportunity. They have been few and far between. Oh, but just sailed a little bit over unexpectedly for Schmidt. And now a fast break opportunity, and they love these, but Posey fakes it. And now they'll drop it back down to her sister, Annie. Annie Posey slices this one through. Nice catch there from Isabel Clater. And she sends a tough one to Emily Posey. She's got Quinn.
Oh, the big,
go one side, go the other.
The big button hook.
And hits her.
Well played there. Good recognition of space. Claire Schmidt a little disappointed with how that point went down.
This is just how it's been for this whole game, it seems like.
Yeah, a bit of an unfortunate turn for Rogue, playing with a lot of confidence and energy yesterday. Just feeling a little let down here, but you know, Claire Schmidt with this hand block earlier in the point to get her team an opportunity, and just not firing on all cylinders right now. Got to be frustrating to know that there is more in the tank. There is a higher level of play within you. Just got to tap into it and find a way to kind of be who you are on this team.
And again, I think the coaches maybe did not do enough to prepare this team. You know, yesterday we saw Red Dawn facing off against the Foggy Bottom boys, and you could tell that Red Dawn knew what Foggy Bottom wanted to do. So that was great preparation. Foggy Bottom well prepared for Red Dawn. Like, they played pretty good ultimate. They were pretty solid out there. That was a great game, well played. I'm not sure, and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus here, but this Riptide team here has come in and they are dominating and crushing. And if anyone had seen their previous games, this should be no surprise. They have completely run through anyone here so far at this tournament. So them rolling like they are in this semifinal should not come as a surprise.
Yeah, good sideline habits and energy are things that you have to practice and drill just like you do every on-field activity as well. It looks like DC Rogue's sideline and body language could have used a couple more reps, right? Good teams can come back from deficits. Good teams are used to playing in close games. I mean, we saw it yesterday in the club division, right? Mixed team Dragon Thrush went down 0-5, and then we were able to put together an 11-2 run. It is possible. It is, right? Like, it is a thing that happens that good teams are able to do. Mental toughness is a real thing to practice at home, and you know, DC Rogue certainly capable of putting a little run together here, but they got to start watching the clock and make a move pretty soon here.
Yeah, strategically, I feel like this team has already lost this game, as they do not seem to have what it takes to find a way to crack this Riptide defense. They have not shown much success this entire game. That 11-5 score reflects that. And Riptide, even having lost 2 of their players, Mark caught 2 days ago, and this is a funny incident when this gets knocked out of your hand on the tap-in. Mccarthy will take that. Bergucci will take that. Gucci will send it deep. That is Georgia Littell. Sorry, that is McCarthy then sending it bing, bada bing, bada boom to Lauren Clater. And a score again for Riptide.
I guess that's a break. Our graphic has indicated that that is a break by Riptide. Sometimes it's hard to keep track as possession changes multiple times per game. Looks like Kelly Ross, coach of DC Rogue, would like to have some words with her players as we continue to see into the kind of mindset and energy of Riptide.
You know, talking to her father before the game, and this is something for all the parents out there, Kennedy McCarthy's father, of course, you know, the architect, one of the architects of the Death or Glory team. And, he's played in some pretty big games, won national championships. This is a heat timeout. Some pretty big moments, worlds. And I said, well, what's it feel like to be on the sidelines as opposed to being on the field in big game moments? And he's like, my throat is up here. I can't breathe. It is so difficult. I'm way more nervous than I ever could have imagined as a player. Here as a dad watching my daughter play. So, for all you parents out there, we understand that emotion. But, Aaron, as you and I, because I have a 5-year-old, one day I'm going to be cracking up because I haven't slept much. I'm losing my emotional balance. But, when I'll see my son maybe playing, and I don't know what the emotions are going to be. Right now, a lot of joy, obviously. But, it's hard for a parent out there watching your son or daughter play and compete.
Yeah, I feel like all of the players that I have coached are my children to a certain extent, and I know that I don't have
Do you get emotional?
a familial tie.
Like you could get too emotional.
I don't get that emotional. I get very proud. I get overwhelmed with pride when my players go on to do very good things.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're not mine. They don't belong to me. Players that I've coached.
Well,
it's great. It's great too. I also
you're along the journey with them.
Yeah.
You're a guide for their journey.
Exactly. And I've been able to coach with some of them and play ultimate with some of them, and I think it's a fun thing that happens as these players start earlier and earlier. It's every time they do something that I taught them well, I am proud. Every time I see them kind of exceed my teaching, I feel proud. When they are on a live stream doing well in YCC or in college or club, I am proud. So, these experiences are really valuable as a mentor and a mentee. And, you see all these young players really trust in their coach and really feel connected. And that's an experience they'll take on with them forever, as will the coach.
I'll keep shooting out of that power position. Right? Let's get deep cut. If you see that one go off, you
Hard work on 3-1!
Hard work! Nice to get inside the rogue huddle there. I'm looking at some Facebook comments here. Yep, Sarah wasn't young enough to play. Carolyn Tornquist played for Swing Vote 2015 to 2016, and Rogue 2017 to 2018. Jim Paranellans, and made sure they did not qualify for nationals. That was my task, and I succeeded. Hey, there's old friend Sanjeev Khanna is coming over to the booth. Hey, Sanj, we're live.
Yeah, this 12-5 timeout not made by either of the teams, but instead made because we are under heat advisory. For those of you who watched live streams yesterday, first team to get to 4 indicates heat timeout. In the second half, the heat timeout happens when someone scores 12, or if the soft cap horn happens before that 12, that's when the heat timeout happens. Again, just a way to keep players safe, especially the youth players. They are out here playing ultimate kind of 6 hours a day. That's a lot. Want to make sure none of them get hurt or heat exhaustion. Saw a lot of cramps yesterday afternoon, right, because of the heat and humidity here. So just want to make sure they're taking care of themselves and have some dedicated time in the shade.
Clicking over to catch up with the Harpoon Connecticut boys U20 team, the 13 seed facing the Indianapolis Incognito squad. It's Incognito now, 12-10 in their semifinal game. The bottom seed Indianapolis team over in, I believe is the mixed division, might be facing that Bankroll squad we saw on day 1.
Really glad to see competitive semifinals. I'm really glad to see competitive finals semis. Really happy to see competition in all of these lanes and divisions. We talk about parity a lot, but a lot of really promising talent from all of these metro areas. It's really encouraging at a tournament like this. And as you mentioned, right, more and more club players are staying to spectate or be part of coaching staff on these YCC teams. And that is certainly a benefit for these YCC players to see their role models supporting them.
Oh.
That's a great fake right there.
The youngster, Annie Posey, the 13-year-old
here's a big look.
Her sister will put it instead.
Wow. Oh.
get a little loud on.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
McCarthy is hopefully just the wind knocked out of her.
That's what it looks like to me. I thought she was going to get it. I really did. She's gotten everything else, right?
Yeah.
And she put on the burners here, and I was
Track star.
excited. So sorry for the volume control issue. I apologize. I apologize.
You got to do one of these, Aaron. You got to like pull the mic
Yeah,
back.
you're right.
Bit.
Presence
Yeah,
of
man.
mind to adjust the microphone. That's strapped to my head. Totally.
I mean, it kind of hurt my ears. I'm just speaking audibly from my reaction. I will also do that on occasion, so I like to apologize in advance for when I get too loud.
So she
McCarthy
will take an injury, it looks like.
Yeah, I really think that's probably just the wind knocked out. You could tell the way she landed sort of on her tummy there.
I believe that's Devin Quinn coming in on the substitution.
Yeah, they do have a lot of talent. I was kind of told ahead of time by the Riptide coaches that they got a lot of skill and a lot of depth. And one quote they gave me was from Leela Tennell, of course, coaching here at Valley Ultimate. She said after they lost to this Riptide team, it was like playing a club team. And yeah, that's kind of what I see too. And this is, of course, it's a youth club team, but I think she's kind of referring to a club team in the adult division. Posey. Her sister will make the cut for her. Instead, the swing, she tries to center it to Watson and can't connect.
One of the few times we've seen this Riptide offense just kind of turn it over on their own miscue. Hopefully Rogue can do something with this, but it looks like a pick is being called on that stack. Really appreciate all the observers hanging out at the National Sports Center this weekend as well. Doing a lot of service in the hot, hot weather. Hope to see more observers in the future.
The big reach again of Miranda Baltax as she brings this one down for Rogue as they get the score to get up to 6 here. Time kind of running low there. Baltax going to play for Flywheel in Michigan, of course, University of, also an Ultimate Peace summer counselor there this summer, as we see just a little too much there for Watson. Love Baltax getting up high for that. She's going to be kind of scary. That's the type of person that would be matching up with Butterfield when Julia was at Notre Dame there in the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
We have another break in the action here. Let's see what this is. Might be another heat timeout or just a regular timeout. And we see the boys Riptide team over there. Either they're called Rising Tide or Neep Tide or
There are a lot of
Red
tides.
Tide. Everything but Black Tide, which is of course the UC Santa Barbara team.
Oh, we don't need to talk about Black Tide.
Oh, you've got some Black Tide stories?
Oh no, I mean we don't need to talk about Black Tide.
Well,
no,
all right.
I
then.
appreciate the brand consistency of the Maine teams.
And the logo,
And the logo as well.
which
I
has
think,
been around for about 20 years.
Wow,
this is
that's
also what you see
incredible.
at Kleinbeck.
yeah, I really like it when the youth club teams kind of come out as a family to Minnesota and
Yeah.
have some brand consistency. I think it makes them feel more connected to their youth scene in general. I know for a long time in Minnesota, like each of the division teams came up with their own name and ordered their own jerseys. And like it was fun to have a brand new team name every year, but this like continuity of the brand I think is really powerful. And when you have similar names across the board between all of your divisions, I think it just increases kind of the culture and value across teams and fosters kind of goodwill between players of all of the genders, and to make sure that they, the age groups and what have you. And when you're building a program, especially now that there's the U17 division as well, right? Players on that team feel really special and valued to be included in the brand, and then they're going to age up into U20, and it just kind of builds this pipeline. And I just appreciate the branding of programs that do that. I think it's really cool.
And when you go to Clambake, Softcap coming up here soon. When you go to Clambake, we haven't even really talked about. Have you been to Clambake before?
I have not been to clam bake.
Clam bake is one of our country's greatest contributions to, you know, life in general. It is a big time fun tournament outside of, it's in Bowdoin. Sorry, is that?
I think it's Bowdoin College.
Yeah, Bowdoin College is there. I'm temporarily forgetting the town's name, but there's a huge camp out.
Everyone a little bit of an errant pass, but it's caught anyway.
A lot of lobsters going on. I'll just continue on with my story here.
That's okay. I'll pick up on the play-by-play. It's fine.
If you like lobsters and clams.
Big look up. Sorry. Just gonna interrupt you shouting.
Fine.
That's okay.
Posey for the goal to McCarthy. That connection unsurprising. Emily Posey sends it deep. McCarthy skies for it in the end zone. They like to shoot. They like to shoot early. They like to shoot often. And it's been working for them. Wow, look at the ups there from Posey.
Yeah, just kind of regardless of mark right now, Riptide able to throw over and around. Yeah, it looks like a club team. Looks like a club team, plays like a club team, body language like a club team. I don't know, maybe a club team.
Well, Frolic has at least 2 of these girls, maybe 3. I don't know if Annie Posey is also playing with Frolic. That is the club team from the Portland area. But obviously Emily is, and I'm not sure about McCarthy and some of these other players, but hopefully, because pretty good.
Neither of these teams are finished with their day yet. Clearly the winner of this team, it's looking pretty likely that Riptide will carry through, is going to go to the final. And the loser of this game will continue on to that 3rd place matchup, which is starting at 1 o'clock. So that means that we are coming close to the end of the round time. And that means that either Riptide will be able to score the remaining 2 points in the time left, or we will hear a horn. And, you know, I think regardless, the game will be to 15. So that's a point of clarification there. But we are coming up on the end of this round time soon. So wind also picking up a little bit more, trying to blow my some of my items off of the desk here.
If you're following along the action from home, watching this game, some updates from the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast again in the boys division U20 Buda. That is Boston area disc alliance as we see Posey come underneath here, but there's a call as the wind is picking up. Posey will hand this disc back over. Buda and Triforce, the #1 seed, currently tied at 11s, I believe. So look forward to that matchup now.
Nicely red here. That's Nissen.
Margot Nissen, her brother on Foggy Bottom boys. Of course, this wind picking up.
Yeah, I hope people can hear it at home. Might be causing some havoc here. Most of these throws look pretty good though. A nice D there by the Riptide defender. I think that was Claytor again. Also flywheel intended.
And another score update, the ATLians up on Red Dawn at the moment by 4, I believe. If Riptide scores, this will be the end of the game. This huck to Posey.
Well read.
Get it. As usual, looking for Riley Nutt, but drops it back to McCarthy, back to Posey, lays out. That should count. She was airborne over that blue line and landed arms first. Just a dive into the end zone. That's a way to end it. The big celebration and exuberance from this Maine Riptide team. They deserve everything. They get all the accolades, all the love, as a great, excellently played game all around for this team. Big exclamation point at the end from Posey. Are you gonna go down and see if you can grab someone, Aaron?
Yeah, I think that's a good call. That was an amazing play. I'll be down there. I'll be right back.
Wait, we think it's game to 15, Aaron. Oops, sorry, I said that out loud into the microphone. Yeah, that might be me. I apologize. We're gonna check in this real quick.
Sorry, that felt like a period dot kind of moment. to me, and so I got a little bit anxious and started to dismount. I'll just sit down here on the floor for the rest.
Yeah, so game to 15. Sorry, Aaron, you'll have to.
I know, I got really excited.
Yeah, I got really excited. I take, we could share the blame maybe, but I felt like that was game point.
No, it felt like an exclamation point
Game is
right
like,
at the end of the game to finish it off, but
a cameraman's like, what are you guys talking about?
you right. My bad. That's unchuckable out there talking to the squad, right?
That's unchuckable. There's only one of them. You can't duplicate that.
No.
He films a lot for the Minnesota teams, obviously. Do you see him around with the Sub-Zero crew?
I don't often get an opportunity to follow Sub-Zero around at tournaments, or be at the tournaments that they're at, to be honest. Just quick update, the wind is up to 10 miles an hour now. Certainly influential, and that was a downwind look from Claire Schmidt, trying to maybe get a couple of points before this game ends on a quick downfield, kind of punt and play defense maybe situation. Upwind throw is about to be a little bit more difficult. And yep, true to form, that one was a little bit difficult in a tight spot. So Claire Schmidt will pick up again for DC Rogue, trying to kind of close the gap here. She'll fire over the top, and that's caught.
Yeah, nicely done there. Skied by Emily Selewski. We've called her name a lot in the back of the end zone, and there's a reason why. She's got some pretty good range and knows where to get into position. So Selewski collects the downwinder. Now just one more point left for Riptide. Well, we do want to thank you for tuning in and watching this game. Been a lot of fun, a lot of big plays. So if you're looking for some excitement, this was a game to watch.
Yeah, I'm really excited for whatever kind of package there is at the end of this footage, because it's going to be firepower.
Sure, I'll say it. Aaron, I think, do you want to talk to Kennedy McCarthy down there?
That was kind of what I was thinking.
I'd love to hear more about her story and her talents. And, she doesn't have listed where she's going to school. Is that correct? Where is Kennedy?
I mean, life is funny.
Oh, no, she's going to UVM. We just talked about that, of course.
Find out what she's going to do. The other player on that team, Roguchi, might be a good person to talk to as well. Just finding out what's next for some of these players is really interesting.
Roguchi, only 16 years old.
Yeah, so the intention to come back to the team next year, certainly intention to try out for some adult teams.
And, really quick, to stay with this game, you want to watch Riptide. They will be playing at 1 o'clock in the finals for, likely against Warhawks, who are up on Buddha on the other side of the bracket right now. You can watch that stream on Alte World, so do tune into that to follow along with this Riptide team and the Warhawks in what should be a pretty great battle. We will be broadcasting the boys' final right here on USAU, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So stay tuned for that. 1 o'clock Central Time.
Wow, great defense there by Claire Schmidt, just kind of hiding behind that receiver, leaping into the lane at the appropriate time. Ariano
floats this one a little bit, but no problem for Heffernan.
Fortunate little drop there in the backfield by, I think, number 81. And Riptide will retain possession going downwind. This is game point for them.
Watson wants Mia Kelly under.
Good pressure again from DC Rogue. Would have loved to see this a little sooner, but happy to see it now. A little bit of confidence coming out.
This is kind of important because this could be an upwind score if Rogue can collect this, as a little bit of sluggishness from this Riptide team. We thought they had closed it out, but they're going to need another one. Rattleman with the disc up to Claire Schmidt.
One of the interesting things about the energy game is this big throw goes up and is intercepted again by Kelly. Sometimes if you expend a lot of excitement and energy on a big play, like Posey's layout, you get really tired afterwards. So that can actually impact your ability to play well. My basketball coach also used to tell me not to get too high about the highs and not to get too low about the lows. And I think part of that was just if you use excess energy in kind of a celebration, right? You don't maybe have it left to do what you need to do on the field.
A huck here will come up from Ariano, but it's D'd by the youngest Posey, and they go down into a little bit of a crunch here. Thought she got that clean rattlement underneath there, however, and it looks like Amelia Myers, and this is a clean D, so that's the right call here. Riptide will get the disc. Posey there, the youngest, goes up and gets it.
Posey the elder and Posey the younger.
Yeah. Well, and then there's Alex Posey, the crazy man. Annie Posey.
Good eye.
Watson. Oh, nice pickup here from Molly Hale.
Kelly has the entire end zone to herself, it feels like. Just calling for it. Here's
Posey will deliver.
Look. Oh.
The wind kind of pushed that away. Kelly came in right toward where the disc was going to go and then had to readjust as the wind pushed it a little bit out of bounds. And Schmidt will walk over facing the wind and 70 yards.
A daunting task to be sure, but one that Claire Schmidt is clearly capable of as really the quarterback of her team this game. In the prior games that we watched, Ariano more in that pickup and huck roll, but maybe Schmidt with a little bit more power upwind.
Annie Posey again. She's got some options, drops it back for Maggie Pierce. Pierce looking for the reset up to Kelly, who's going to get at this point to cap this game off for Riptide. Clock is running down to hard cap. Not much of a chance here for Rogue. This game is out of their reach. The time will be the deciding factor if it's not going to be a score from Riptide first. Ariano swings it to Carly Cameron.
There seems to be an injury call on the field, maybe, or some indication that we need to stop.
And when the knees go down, usually it looks like Mia Kelly is going to step off here, because it's been a long point for her. She's been targeted twice now in the end zone. Well, she got that big D on one side and then to the end zone, and Kennedy McCarthy will step on.
Well, that's a strategic way to use that injury sub. Hope Kelly is okay. Kennedy's certainly a power figure in this game, and maybe a good way to finish the game by putting her in here.
Rogue still will have the disc with Ariano on the sidelines, and she'll get this up to Schmidt. Schmidt now looking down, she'll put it up, but McCarthy is there. This could be McCarthy's disc, and it is.
Just with the better read there, I think.
So Kennedy will try to activate her cutters, but good defense from Rogue here. She has to kind of do a little upsy throw back to Kennedy McCarthy. She wants to shoot, but she's not getting her cutters downfield. Now she has to drop it back down for Annie Posey. Back to McCarthy. Now they got a little bit of a flow here, and now it's
She's asking for a deep look. I think she wants to stretch this out.
Yeah, Hale down there is staying in the deep zone. She's got to get out of there and allow the mid-range cutting positions to get into that deep space. But with Hale camped out down there, that's ineffective. But some tired legs out here, really on both sides. As you see, Hale will take a timeout and walk off the field. I think that's kind of what that was. Aaron just too tired to really make some action. Sorry, that's Ayla Gunther taking the timeout. And Ragucci will come in. they just keep bringing on the top elite players here. And a sub for Rogue. Amelia Myers will step off the field.
Yeah,
And
nearing the end of a game when you have a cushion like this, it is a good opportunity to get some of your younger people in the game. Maybe put out, 6 players who haven't seen the field a lot and 1 thrower who can kind of be at the helm, which I think was Posey the Younger's job on that point. But maybe just a longer point than anyone was really anticipating here. And Rogue on the steps, the front steps of that end zone.
Big sky from Heffernan earlier. Now Z Rattleman with the disc has to drop it back to Ariano, who sends it all the way across the field. That's a great throw.
Wow. That's beautiful. Nice throw, Ariano.
Great throw, great find to find Silverman on the far sideline, coming back to that cone there. But that's dialed in nicely by Ariano, Olivia Ariano with the throw, and Silverman with the catch. And that is a goal and a hold for DC Rogue.
Certainly kind of a flashback to the confidence that we've seen from DC Rogue over the course of the weekend. Again, 14-8 here in this 5th place, or wait, yeah, this is the semifinal. I'm sorry. On your road to the final in a little bit of a disappointing situation, but good to see her still able to wind up with that confidence to throw that out to that space and recognize that her teammate would be all alone and free. Not quite sure if this is a timeout or not. Looks like it could be.
We'll see if we can get in there a little bit. Let's hear this timeout.
If we're not time constrained, we will play until we stop scoring. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go. We're all rested. We're rested. The fourth quarter starts now, okay? We're going to get Olivia, Claire, and Coco. We're going to get Chloe and Taylor.
Yes, sir!
And we're going to get Leah and Graham.
Fourth quarter starts now. We're going to play until we stop scoring. Love that. Staying positive, staying focused, and Riptide as well, staying positive, having fun. Kind of what you need. You don't want to be too down at the end of the game here. So great to hear that from the DC Rogue huddle.
Yeah, it's often challenging. You do carry momentum with you between games as well, right? So as we mentioned, neither team done for their day or their tournament yet. Kind of their end of season placement on the line. So you don't want to end this game in any kind of low emotional place. You want to pick up so that you can carry that positivity with you into the next game. Definitely don't want to leak kind of any negative energy into a brand new game. So I like this mentality from coaching staff of DC Rogue, is to pick everybody up and give them a little bit of a power pep up speech there, and let's see what this energy can do for this DC Rogue squad.
As you see the update there, Warhawks win 15-10 over Buddha and the other side of this semifinal bracket. So the winner of this game will face the defending champions from the Triangle area, Warhawks. As Nup will handle the disc with Posey. Facing the wind, up to Ragucci. She likes to fire, and she has Mccarthy in the end zone. That combination has been lethal. McCarthy rises up for it. That's what she does best. And now she just has to drop it for Nup, and she does, and that's the game. It's McCarthy rising up, skying her defender there. Drops it down for Riley Nup, and that is the end for Riptide. It was only really a matter of time. Love the ups. We're not going to do an interview here. We got some more action coming up. Aaron, I did one of your things. But Aaron, your thoughts here on this game after watching this action here, this awesome action here in the under 20 girls semi?
Well, I think, Riptide really came out and showed us who they were. They played their game. Any mistakes that they made seemed kind of like a fluke, right? Clearly consistent players, had a lot of success in those, in particular, kind of sky ball situations. I'm really happy to see that from all of them. I think the story on the Rogue side is just maybe a lack of adjustment, or to your point, a lack of maybe mental preparation that they were going to get tougher and tougher matchups as they advanced through the bracket. I would have liked to see them go straight up sooner in the game. Certainly there were some miscues, but you know, taking that back to the well and talking about controlling what you can control, hitting open hands, and doing all that cutting pattern stuff that we talked about earlier. But a lot of really great plays, Tony.
So there's actually just too many for this reel, to be honest. There was about 20 good skies. As you see, Kennedy Mccarthy with that big good. See Rattleman down on this one. This is the big sky by, that was Ball Tax. And here's McCarthy again up in the air. We'll see one more. It's probably going to be Posey diving into the end zone. Boom.